Hello, everyone, and welcome to the 7th season of the Committee Reads. I know I made mention that last time we would be doing fan fiction, but due to changes between when we did season 6 to now, we will no longer be associating ourselves with fan fiction. If you read the December of 2017 KWCE. In the meantime, technically, I know this probably won't be coming out till later, but Happy New Year to everyone. And to kick off the new year of a new Committee Reads, we will not be doing the KWCs for now. We will be hopping over to the subsection within the Toho Kingdom forums, known as the Kaiju War Chronicles Expanded. A lot of the details will be left in the links below. Just check out the FAQ. And in the meantime, we're going to be hopping into the first match of the KWCE, Reptilicus versus Buraki by Birdman.
AKA the most boring season. Let's get the show on the road.
Yes.
You can find the KWC on the Toho Kingdom subforum of the KWC on the Toho Kingdom forum.
Yes. Anyway. Los Angeles was under attack. No one knew where the attackers came from, but they struck hard, fast and hard. A legion of darkness overtook the city streets, slaying men, women, and children alike. With their mixture of modern and medieval technology, they dominated the forces of the U.S. Army that dared to oppose them. In a matter of hours, the Artox army would have complete control over the city. The Legion of Reptiles and Dark Warriors move... The Legion of Reptiles and Dark Warriors moved through the once bustling streets, clearing a path deeper into the city. Black-armored knights sped through the streets on their dinosaur-like Shakone mounts? Did I say that right?
Yes. Perfect.
Shakone? I guess so.
10 out of 10.
Close enough.
Yeah. Cutting down any unfortunate soldiers in their path. As they sliced their way through, the dog-like dawdlers fired bursts of missiles from their back-mounted launchers, blasting away the heavy artillery. As helicopters fired a hail of bullets from above, a rain of fire and arrows came down on them, and the U.S. soldiers below as dark bowmen and winged bulkos rained down hell. From the shadows, the army's dark master looked on. For 500 years he had waited for the day to rise again and take what rightfully belonged to him. Somewhere in the heart of Los Angeles resided the Yuyi-Ju? I forget how you pronounce it.
Go on.
Oh my god.
Jew.
My Chinese pronunciation sucks, or Korean, or I think this is Korean.
I'm sorry, but that name is.
We can ask Birdman. He is the writer.
True.
Usually do.
All right,
Birdman. Is that name
Thank you for that expert translation, Birdman.
The human female.
Off to a good start.
Right. The human female that held the power to transform him into a mighty celestial dragon. With such power at his fingertips, he would lay down upon the world destruction like no mortal had ever seen. Pass.
But from the depths of the bay, another stirred. A giant of giants not seen for many years, whose hunger had driven it to the surface once more. For the past few decades, it has sustained itself on marine life, but now that it had exhausted its food supply, apparently eating the entire ocean, the time had come to step out onto land once again. A column of seawater rose of the bay as the beast shot out of the depths. With several experimental flaps of its fin-like wings, it attained flight and soared over the bay waters into the city. It cast a serpentine shadow over the landscape, whilst, at the same time, sunlight reflected off its dull green scales, making it seem like the creature was glowing. A savage shriek escaped its maw and echoed through Los Angeles' maze of streets, signifying death had arrived. Its call caught the attention of the U.S. Army and Artox armies. Man and beast alike turned to the heavens as the emerald monstrosity swooped in and landed roughly on the asphalt further down the road. Its shape resembled that of the legendary Eastern dragons, with 4 small limbs attached to its long, coiling body. Its wings tucked close to its body, giving it a room to maneuver in the tight streets. Its maw only contained 6 teeth, 4 in the top jaw and 2 in the bottom, but they were long and tusk-like, and made closing the beast's mouth look almost impossible. Pass.
It looked down at the massed forces with a ravenous hunger in its eyes. It saw no difference between the two sides. To it, they were only food. With a shriek, it slithered down the street, mouth wide open. Both armies forgot about their conflict and focused their fire on the approaching behemoth. Shells, grenades, missiles, bullets, arrows, and fireballs did nothing to harm the beast, nor did they slow its advance. The armies made 2 retreat, but neither side could escape its gaping maw. Man, beast, and vehicle alike vanished down its gullet to a slow and torturous end at its stomach acids. Soon, there was no trace that any living creature had previously been on the street, the only evidence currently digesting in the serpent's stomach. Reptilicus let out a tired hiss, its hunger still unsatisfied even after consuming both armies. It crawled through the streets, its bulk crashing into both sides of the street, and rubbing buildings into featureless piles of rubble. As it moved deeper into the concrete labyrinth, a dark shape began to coil around one of the many skyscrapers that towered over the city. Like Reptilicus, it was serpentine, but its scales and shape were more reminiscent of a snake than a dragon. Dull gray scales of many shades covered its form from head to tail, broken apart only by its tan underbelly. Its head resembled that of a hooded cobra, complete with frill and all, but its eyes were anything but snake-like. They glowed with an intelligence and malevolence not seen in many a millennia. Buraki, the dark Imugi, gazed upon the form of Reptilicus and hissed threateningly at the Danish monster. After waiting for centuries for a new Yiju to emerge, the mystical dragon would not allow Reptilicus to ruin his ascension into godhood. Reptilicus stared up at the serpent, snarling aggressively. It did not fear the Imugi at all. In fact, it saw Buraki as its next meal. Flaring its wings, Reptilicus lunged at him. Do I need to read the next paragraph or pass?
Pass. There's someone taking it back.
Yeah, I'm sorry, the Imugi is just hilarious as well.
I found it as emoji.
Do you think emoji or emoji?
Emoji.
It's been forever since I've seen this movie.
Yeah.
Listen,
like
I think we
Imugi.
all can agree that we would have preferred to see the Imugi movie over the Emoji movie.
Yeah, no argument there.
that's
No
true.
argument there. That's basically Dragon Wars in a nutshell. Anyway.
I think anything would be preferable than Dragon Wars. Or at least most things.
Anyway, Birdman.
There's someone taken aback by the dragon-like monster's ferocity. Buraki was quick to respond to Reptilicus' challenge. He reared his top half to the side, allowing the lunging Reptilicus to miss and clamp down on nothing. As it continued soaring past, Buraki struck, sinking his jaw to the back of Reptilicus' neck. He thrust his body upwards, expertly coiling around the flying monster, and squeezed tightly. Reptilicus shrieked and thrashed around, trying to dislodge its dangerous passenger. With Buraki's weight atop it, Reptilicus could not stay airborne for much longer, and the two began to plummet. Buraki still thrusting the life out of the winged reptilian. It crashed through a tower, impact loosening Buraki's grip, and the two serpents fell separate from each other. In the dust clouds, both crawling titans thrashed and shrieked as they untangled themselves from the mangled debris and each other. They raised their heads above the ground as they slithered across it, locking eyes as they circled one another. Reptilicus and Buraki kept eye contact, waiting for the other to make a mistake and leave an opening for an attack. The two made mock lunges at each other, hissing and shrieking as they tried to intimidate the other. But this contest could have gone on for much longer. Reptilicus' hunger went out, and it lunged forward as Buraki made a mock strike, catching the ancient serpent off guard. Its tusk-like fangs sunk deep into Buraki's flesh, releasing a fountain of blood that lapped up with gusto. Before it could inflict greater damage, Buraki's jaw closed around Reptilicus and ripped the beast off. Reptilicus rolled across the ground, shrieking dizzily, before an apartment building brought to a stop. The building shuddered as the Danish monster slammed into it, but managed to hold. Dazed, Reptilicus struggled to rise. The trembling street and the savage hiss that filled the air alerted Reptilicus to Buraki's approach. The dark immortal slithered out of the stunned Reptilicus at breakneck speed. With great speed and agility, it quickly crawled around and around the emerald monster's body and to slowly apply pressure onto it. Reptilicus squirmed and wiggled in Buraki's coils as it frantically sought to escape the evil serpent's death grip, but Buraki could not allow it to escape again and squeezed even tighter, crushing the life out of Reptilicus. His curls tied around the false dragon's stomach, causing Reptilicus to forcibly vomit up the last remains of its meal. But that's all that emerged. Pass.
Gallons of jade slime were ejected from hidden glands within Reptilicus' mouth. Buraki's head, meters away from Reptilicus' own, swiftly moved to the side to avoid the disgusting projectile. The glob of mucus splattered across a block of building and, to Buraki's surprise and horror, began eating through them as if they were made of cardboard. Granite and steel were effortlessly corroded by Reptilicus' aesthetic slag, slowly turning the block into an unrecognizable slab of mush. Another gurgle came from Reptilicus' throat. Now realizing what this meant, Buraki removed himself from Jade Beast, releasing Reptilicus from his coils and slithered away to get out of the range of the Danish serpent's corrosive bile. Reptilicus slowly huffed and puffed as it recovered from this ordeal. Its bruised ribs began to heal rapidly, and it was quickly back in the fight. The beast spread its wings and took to the skies in pursuit of Buraki. From its aerial vantage point, it quickly located the Imugi and dived towards him, shrieking wildly as the winged serpent's cry reached his ears. Buraki looked backwards and upwards, to spot Reptilicus coming at him from above at tremendous speed. Instead of trying to avoid the oncoming threat, Buraki curled his body into a coil and launched himself into the air like a spring at Reptilicus.
Oh.
All right,
The
Joe,
two
you pass.
crashed.
Joe, pass.
Oh, pass.
Wow.
Wow.
The two crashed to the ground and shook the earth in all directions. Both serpents thrashed around as they instinctively coiled around each other, snapping and hissing as each tried to overpower their rival. Being the longer of the two, Buraki was swiftly outcoiling Reptilicus, entwining the Danish monster once more. But Reptilicus had the advantage over the would-be god. It lashed out with its arms and legs, sinking its talons into Buraki's flesh. As the cobra squealed, the jade monster slashed into his scales, painting both their hides in his blood. Buraki's agonized screams filled the air. Motivated further by the dark serpent's pain, Reptilicus aimed his right-handed strike at Buraki's snout. A mistake. The Imugi bit Jesus Christ. The Imugi bit down on the oncoming limb, crushing its bones and shredding its flesh, and drawing a shriek of untold agony from Reptilicus. Buraki pulled away, ripping the arm off of his Danish prey. Reptilicus' delicious blood flooded the evil one's mouth, prompting him to begin devouring the limb. He flexed his tongue and throat muscles, slowly swallowing the arm whole. Pass.
But that's when he noticed it. Reptilicus' stomach swiftly closing up, sluggishly regenerating two new arms. The green false dragon, no longer distracted by its pain, glared at Buraki, baring its fangs as a familiar gurgle rose out of its throat. Buraki began to try to move his head out of the way, but Reptilicus pulled him close to its face with its soul on. Dothraki tried to eject. Thought that said something naughty there, but okay. The reptile's severed limb from its mouth in order to use his jaws, but with his potential meal halfway into his throat now, the task was impossible. Reptilicus' muscles clenched, allowing him to spray Buraki with its corrosive goo. The slime planted itself on the cobra's exposed neck, and Buraki gave a strangled scream of agony as it began eating its way through his scales, exposing rib-like bones in his esophagus. Lunging forward with pinpoint accuracy, Reptilicus' mouth dove into the exposed cavity and clamped around Buraki's windpipe. With powerful muscles, it pulled back, ripping out Buraki's throat from inside. The dark serpent spasmed madly, trying to convey his agony sound, but its torn throat was unable to form any coherent noise. After a minute of playing, Buraki's movements began to fade as Reptilicus watched it out with anticipation. Jesus Christ. The would-be slayer of mankind fell dead to the ground. Reptilicus' arm still lunged in his throat. The next few minutes, Reptilicus back moving itself. The next few minutes, Reptilicus back removing itself from the dead sea's coil. By the time it had untangled itself, its arm had folded itself. Reptilicus looked over Buraki's portal. Relishing a meal unlike any other, though cannibalism, gotcha, did not care about saving humanity. Time, it would eventually devour them as well. For now, Reptilicus was content on dining on a dead immortal, consuming every piece of flesh on his body, its own dead arm included. And once it had finished, it would retreat to the ocean of death, once again seeking out more sustenance for its endless appetite, and a sequel to its long-forgotten movie, Winter Reptilicus.
Yay.
Alright, so we will once again just kind of go within the order that we read it. So honestly, I think this is a solid opener. We use two monsters that aren't within the Toho library at all. They're just like, yeah, it's just here what you can do. It's like you could just write a match with a different monster and, you know, just kind of go at it like you would a KWC. And in some respects, this feels like, you know, a good old-fashioned KWC, where it just kind of gets the, like, you know, sets up the monsters, gets to the point, has them fight, and it was kind of neat to see two serpents go at it. That was really nice. So,
Yeah, I would tend to agree in that regard. I will make note that upon just even looking at the match, and based on my own like recollection of the monsters, and knowing Reptilicus had the thick armor, that seemed, at least in my memory, it seemed more durable than Buraki. I with the acid, I kind of gave the edge to Reptilicus going in, and this kind of always makes my note of when it comes to these types of monsters and matches, really much on like power scaling. If you were to take one character from one universe who is the ultimate most powerful character, put them into another, they could basically be like nothing. And this is kind of like what I felt in this regard. Buraki is essentially like the pre-evolution of what Reptilicus would be, because it had less abilities and whatnot. So I kind of had the edge going to Reptilicus from the beginning, but the fight was still entertaining throughout, and I did like the Reptilicus quickly destroying the army, and then Buraki's like, well, okay, I guess I gotta move in now.
What is this, the fantasy matches?
Alright, God Emperor?
That's so cute.
God Emperor.
He's like, wait, I don't remember reading this match.
Birdman's gonna toot his own horn.
Hang on, what about the missing one? I wasn't next, it was God Emperor Gabra.
Oh.
Yeah, God Emperor Gabra is...
Yeah, I'm here. Yeah, I'm here. I guess the mic is still having problems.
Okay, just if you were saying something, just repeat what you were saying, because I couldn't hear you.
I thought the match was pretty decent. I think it was a good starter match, or at least a good introductory match. Nothing too big and fancy, but still, I guess I'd say creative enough.
Guess my turn.
Yeah, go ahead.
Like Joseph said, it was a good start match. It was the second KWCE match I wrote. I'm not quite sure where the idea came from. I can forget things quite easily, but and the idea of serpents, like Eastern versus, well, not Eastern, but I don't know, something like, it's hard to explain, but imagine how silly a CGI monster versus a puppet would look.
I'd pay good money to see that.
Well,
honestly.
I'll tell you how that would look. When they're filming it, it's just going to be the puppet jerking off by itself, and then they're going to puppet. Then that's where you'll see it.
I'd love to see that. Honestly, that sounds great.
Well, if you want to see CGI interact with a puppet, go watch the Star Wars prequels.
Ooh, burn.
Joe, fucking savage.
GBZ, when you say puppet, are you talking about Hayden Christensen?
Yes.
Speaking of Joe, if you're done, Birdman, Joe, it's your turn.
I thought it was a pretty good start to the KWCE. But one little problem I have is that I'm not a big fan of two similar things fighting. Like, I'm not really entertained by two snakes fighting. It's kind of a boring concept in my mind.
You're not a fan of
But
two snakes eating each other out?
Yes.
I beg to differ, but go ahead.
But the match kind of makes up for it with some good moments.
Okay. So, as Derzeb said, as an introduction to the concept of the KWC, I like that there were no established. I like that to really put on the map that this is different. We're actually including monsters from outside the regular KWC. We have two monsters that we couldn't even dream of getting into the regular KWC. I will say this: I have not seen Dragon Wars, and I'm not finished with the MST 3K version of Reptilicus.
Harley, don't watch Dragon Wars. It's shit.
Okay. But I'm not done. I'm not actually at the monster part of the MST 3K reboot version of Reptilicus. But it was a really good match. I do kind of agree with Joe here that having two snakes fighting each other isn't exactly the most thrilling thing. But Birdman, I think he did a good job.
Oh, Harley, to correct you, it's a soft.
Oh, and Reptilicus is longer than Buraki. Just wanted to point that out.
Someone's
My
asking for a
snake's
smack button.
longer than your snake.
Hey, I went up to check the cards. I checked.
Yeah, I kind of made Reptilicus longer than Buraki, so...
Good job, Andrew.
Someone's asking for a smack bottom.
Well, I'm not going to say no to that. So,
Oh,
Alex,
you
with that
naughty
in mind-
boy. I mean, girl.
Oh.
Oh, is that my turn?
Yep.
I thought it was... It's the equivalent of Amanda versus Matches. It's just there to set up the new age or whatever series. I'm not saying it's bad or anything, it's just kind of forgettable in my honest opinion. I mean, it's your standard KWC, you just set up a little something, and then the two monsters fight, one of them at the end. It's a little formulaic, or can't say that. For some reason, can't say it right now. And like GVC said, I'm kind of not a fan of two of the same things fighting each other. Granted, yeah, it's done well, but it's just kind of average. Like I said, I don't hate it or anything, it's just kind of more on the mess side for me. Hell, to be honest, again, this is like Manda versus Commanders, it's just something to start it up.
Mm-hmm.
You kind of want to have like something there to start it up and then save the others for later. But then again, I'm not a fan of the typical match where it's just set a little thing that Monster A fights Monster B. Not for me.
Alright. And with that said, that was KWCE number 1, Reptilicus versus Buraki. And we will be seeing you guys next time for Geigen Showa versus Gypsy Danger. Until then, folks.